Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Sagittarius 2022 horoscope forecast. And yes, it does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, first off, well, Jupiter is going to be in Pisces and Aries during 2022. So as far as the time when Jupiter transits Pisces for Sagittarius, the fourth house, is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, this could manifest in a number of ways. It may expand compassion and forgiveness, sacrifice. In home-related matters, it could expand forgiving the mother for certain things. It could be family members in general, people you're close to home with. It may also be fortuitous and prosperous for things. It could be for selling a home. Maybe the fact that it's in Pisces, it could be something you thought was unattainable for whatever reasons, or maybe even buying maybe something as far as a dream, what you idealized, what you saw as your perfect dream home, perhaps in some cases. And remember that, as I've talked about in previous videos, Jupiter could be very paradoxical. It could be very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. Now, in some cases, it may enlarge and expand chaos in one's home life. It might be deception and duplicity, perhaps with family members, someone you're close to home with. It could also be, it may even expand qualities at the core, your Pisces characteristics, perhaps even expressing more compassion, forgiveness, idealism, sacrifice, altruism, idealism, being, I guess you could also, put, as far as Pisces goes, again, forgiving, and also doing, and also very emotional energy as well. And it might be where, as far as in dreamy energy as well, dreamy characteristics perhaps. And the thing about this too is, the fourth house is also connected with the latter part of life, so it might be strongly emphasizing, idealizing where you want to be at the latter part of life, and really doing, it can also be as well, as far as Jupiter being in Pisces and the fourth house being emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. Again, it could be prosperity and home-related matters. It might be fortuitous for doing something Pisces-related out of home. It could include the metaphysical, which could include astrology or poetry or teaching poetry or dancing or photography, giving photography lessons. Another thing too, as far as the time that Jupiter is going to be in Aries, the fifth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time, this could be very lucky and fortuitous for matters of the heart or children. It could be by being aggressive and taking the initiative. The fact that this is in Aries, but again, as I've spoken about before, Jupiter can have a tendency to enlarge and expand. It might enlarge and expand contentious or acrimonious situations with a lover, with a child at this time. But it may also be prosperity in things of a speculative nature in investments. The thing is, the fact it's in Aries, it might be something connected. Maybe there is some kind of, there's a company that manufactures firearms that maybe you invest in. I don't know if there is if you could put stock in a company that manufactures fireworks, could be another example. And as something Aries related, it could be very positive and beneficial as far as investments go at this time for Sagittarius. And Jupiter is also connected with the truth. And it might be finding out something, the truth regarding it. Could be a combative child, or maybe a lover that's overly quarrelsome or even pugnacious. Some examples. Now, the fifth house, excuse me, the fifth house is also associated with personal popularity. So this could be a very lucky and fortunate period as far as personal popularity goes. And again, by being, in fact, you're talking about Jupiter being in Aries, by taking the initiative to lead, being aggressive, um, really being courageous, perhaps in doing so as well. And it may also enlarge an interest. It could be in Aries hobbies and things of amusement, or even Aries sports. It could be something with karate or boxing or learning judo, as some examples. It could be playing, combat sport game, whether it's a board game or a video game. In some cases, and you're also going to express slightly more exuberance and enthusiasm, and having a lot of drive and motivation. And fifth house matters, again, such as matters connected with children, with lovers, with matters of speculation, sports, personal popularity, and your the things that are associated with your hobbies as well, and your things that you enjoy, your games. So anyway, well, Saturn is going to be in Aquarius for the entirety of 2022. So for Sagittarius, the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, again, it could manifest in a number of ways. You might find yourself at this time of Sagittarius. You might be dealing, it could be certain, maybe restrictions in your communications. The fact is, with the Saturn and Aquarius, just collectively, as far as it can impact people, there might be certain restrictions as far as interacting with society. I would say Aquarius, I would say, is connected with society and groups, and the fact is, this might impact Sagittarius, your communications more so than most people at this time. You might also, there might be more responsibilities to friends, in which, as far as maybe driving them places. The third house is the house of mobility and short journeys. It can also be a time too where you might be doing, it could be laborious efforts that are associated with Aquarius, whether it might be doing humanitarian acts, altruistic actions, and it might be for people that are in, like your neighbors, for example, or for siblings or cousins or neighbors, or working hard and just doing something like astrology or astronomy, computers, electronics. And that could be, again, something that might be where you're doing this maybe for siblings, for cousins or neighbors at this time, even people that were prominent in your early education or even in your short journeys at this time. And it's also working hard. Saturn is about laborious effort. It could be doing, or having responsibilities and showing the responsibility and altruistically, doing things for siblings, cousins, and neighbors at this time. Again, people prominent in your early education, and even people that are in that in your short journeys at this time. Now, Saturn is depressive, and it's about despondency and sorrow. So there might, in the third house is the rational mind. So it's important to be careful at this time, Sagittarius, that you don't let it let sadness dominate your thinking. It could be restrictions, something Aquarius related, whether it's connected with goals or aspirations or friendship, or something about your future seems negative, might impact how you're thinking rationally at this time. So anyway, well, the next thing up, Uranus will be in Taurus for the entirety of 2022. So the sixth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So this is another thing, of course, could manifest and express itself in a number of ways. Sagittarius, you might be experiencing certain instability as far as your income at your place of employment at this time. You might have fluctuations, monetarily. at your job, at your work, could be service that you may perform. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back, but anyway. And at this time as well, you know, it could be an aunt or uncle, could be more unpredictable at this time. It might be a time too where you might be involved in a Uranus type of employment. It could be something with computers or astrology or electronics or innovation, doing something on the internet. You might be more involved in working virtually. It could be from home at this time. And the fact it's in Taurus, it could be with a lot of persistence and loyalty as well. And the thing is, too, it could also be that people, Taurus friendships might be more prominent in your daily routine more so than usual at this time, whether they are, it could be Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or ones that simply embody Taurian characteristics. Um, the thing about this is too is as far as this transit goes. The sixth house is also a house of physical health. Sagittarius, you may experience some issues with the ankles, the shins, the calves, the nerves, the circulation at this time. Being in Taurus, it might be rather stubborn ones, or it could be something unexpected, very spontaneous might occur that may be a health issue that is associated with Taurus. It's something with the throat, with the neck area, the thyroid. Maybe there's an unusual like protrusion or growth in that area, or it might be something like a spasm or some kind of intermittent twitching in the throat or neck area at this time. I'm going to have transit Uranus hit my Ascendant conjuncted. I believe it'll be 2024, so I'm wondering what I'm going to have to look forward to at that time. But anyway, and you also may be expressing more, you could say, selflessness and altruism in the daily routine at this time. You might even you feel like you might be forming a friendship, perhaps with a pet, or it could even be somebody prominent in your daily routine that was more like an acquaintance before, somebody that's in your work life at this time. And the thing is, too, I'd say the sixth house is also the house associated with worry, so there might be something, that might be, you might be some worry that you might be dealing with that might be coming and going. Uranus is very erratic and sporadic energy, so it might be something that may be coming and going, or it might be something where maybe friends are people you might worry about more so than usual at this time, or even your future, your goals, your aspirations might be something that might cause more worry and concern for you at this time, more so than usual. Now, the next thing I want to get at, okay, Neptune is going to be in Pisces for the entirety of 2022, so the fourth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. Now, it can be at this time where you might feel that your home life maybe is dissolving or dissipating, Sagittarius, or it might be something where maybe a family member or maybe the less dominant parent, which is often the mother, may be nebulous or unclear, or even people that you're close to home with may be obscure or nebulous or unclear at this time. You may also be involved doing, could be Neptunian things out of the home, metaphysical, which includes astrology, and it could be doing something with poetry or dancing. I don't know if anesthesiology can be done out of the home, but if it can, that's another possibility. It could be doing something with fantasy, fantasy or fictional, writing maybe. It could be another example, or you're doing some film production out of the home. You might also be a little bit vague or nebulous or unclear regarding where you're going to be at the latter part of life if you're not already in it. It can be a time where, in some isolated cases, I mean, keep in mind Neptune is also connected with incarceration in prison. The fourth house is associated with the home. If this is a time, if you've been involved in a criminal activity, sadly, this could be a time where that could manifest in that manner. I'd say, but just in isolated cases. Though could also be a time too where you might be somewhat, again, nebulous of who you are at the core, perhaps, or maybe you're seeing more qualities of being idealistic and dreamy, perhaps even sacrificing, altruistic, and compassionate at the core at this time. And Neptune and Pisces, collectively, I could see where you might see more, proliferation of fallacious mediums, phony psychics, and there could be danger of them misguiding you in terms of where you're going to be at that latter part of life, or for matters if they're making predictions, regarding your home life at this time. And another thing too is that this could also be where, sadly, in some cases, you might see that you might be dealing with someone you're close to home with, or a family member, maybe somebody that may be involved in drugs or alcohol at this time as well. It does increase that propensity a little bit at this time. It can also be where maybe you're also, somewhat, you're not really sure, regarding matters with your roots and ancestry at this time as well. And you might be also sacrificing time maybe to pursue traditions, to be more involved with your traditions at this time. So, and those are some ways that this is could manifest and pan out. It could also be expressed perhaps in flooding of the home at this time. So just Neptune is also connected with gas and chemicals. So just be careful, the possible inadvertent chemical assimilation if there's a gas leak, and be extra careful and prudent regarding radon. Have your home checked for it if you can, and so anyway. Now, last but not least, I'm going to talk about Pluto. So Pluto's going to be in Capricorn for the entirety of 2022. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Sagittarius. So at this time, well, Sagittarius, you may be dealing, in some cases, you might feel like your self-esteem, might feel like it's destroyed or obliterated, or it could be a resurgence or rebirth of it. If you're somebody that had been down and out for some time, or feeling disconsolate, this could be the time where you might feel, rebirth of it and a resurgence of how you feel about yourself. And the Sagittarius, of all people, certainly don't want to be, feel despondent for too long. Sagittarius is notorious for being jocular and jovial. And it could also be where you may be doing something, Plutonian as far as generating income. It could be doing something, with the occult, which includes astrology or insurance, or working with taxes, recycling, transformation. Could be a death profession, such as working as a coroner or mortician, or even as a surgeon. These could be ways where you may be making money at this time. And the thing too is, second house is also about our values. So it might be time where you might feel, just having control in your life or what have you is something you may strongly value. Being able to bounce back from adversity, being resilient, being that phoenix, or figuratively speaking, rising from the ashes, being able to deal with crisis or make a major change or transformation as well. Those are things that you may strongly value at this time, and you might be more controlling, over your possessions, or it could be a time where something happens where maybe they're destroyed somehow. Maybe they don't really, serve as much value for them, but you could also at the same time be overly obsessed in monetary matters with possessions at this time, more so than usual, and it's just something to be wary about at this time, Sagittarius, because that is a way that this transit could manifest and pan out at this time for you. And also, to me, Pluto is connected with support, whether it be emotional, moral, or monetary, and that could be something that might actually figure more prominently in your finances at this time, and also how you feel, about yourself, as well. So, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.